Hello and welcome to your final review. Here I'm going to talk about some sentences that are on your final and some questions that I'm going to ask about those sentences on your final. So let's talk about the breakdown of questions. It's all going to be multiple choice. It will open at 8 a.m. on May 15th and close at midnight on May 15th, well, 11:59 on May 15th. If you cannot get to the exam that day, please let me know as soon as you know that you can't do it that day, and we'll schedule a different time for you to make that up. The first half is going to be reading comprehension. There is the Horatia's wedding passage on page 91, and the paragraph is at lines 12 through 21 if you want to take a look at that before sitting down to do the test. You are welcome to do that. Also, if you have the comprehension questions that you turned in for chapter 30, you can reference that as well, and that may help you. The second half of the exam, so I think questions like 15 to 30, are going to be grammar questions. And they are all questions that you have seen before. I'm taking them from your quizzes, so chapters 26 and 30 through 30. You should be able to access the quizzes for 27 through 30 on Moodle. You should be able to see how you did on those quizzes as well as the correct answer. If you cannot access that, let me know and I will make sure that that is open for you. So I just wanted to kind of go through some of the sentences that will be on there and some of the types of questions that you can expect to see. So the first sentence, Quintus domum cucurrit teritus et omnia patri neravit. A question that might be on there is asking you about the tense of these verbs. So first we got to figure out which words are verbs. Here in this sentence you have two verbs. You've got cucurrit as a verb. You also have neravit. So you have two main verbs in this sentence. And what they share a common tense, which would in this case be perfect. Neravit is just a regular first conjugation verb. So the VIT indicates that it's perfect. Curro, the verb run, has a reduplication in its perfect. So the cucurrit indicates that it's perfect. That CU indicates that it's perfect. In this sentence, you also have a participle, technically. Which word do you think is a participle? Your participle here is going to be teritus. Previously, you translated that as terrified. Literally, it can mean having been terrified. So if the ED is on the end of it, what tense is that participle going to be? It's a perfect passive participle. Again, technically. And in this sentence, who is the one being terrified? Teritus ends with a US, which would indicate that it is second declension nominative singular. So it's going to go with Quintus, which is also second declension nominative singular. Then the translation of this sentence could be terrified Quintus, or Quintus terrified, ran home and told everything to his father. Remember that omnia is a neuter plural noun. So omnia here is going to be accusative plural because it's neuter, and patri is going to be dative singular. Told everything, receiving the action of the verb told to his father. So your dativeness in there with the two. Second sentence, totum imperium Romanum in executum ruit. Ruit here has a short I. The tense of this verb is a little bit tricky. It comes from ruo, ruere. Rui with the long I is the perfect form. Since this is a short I, this verb is going to be present. If the I were long, then it would be perfect. on the exam, I indicate to you the, if it makes a difference, I'm going to indicate to you the length of the vowel. So this verb is present. And then you have a lot of neuters here. So totum imperium romanum. Imperium is going to be neuter, and it's going to be singular, and in this case, it's going to be nominative. So the whole Roman Empire, or the entire Roman Empire, rushes, because it's present, into ruin or destruction, however you want to take exitum. Next sentence. Flaccus qui filiam valere usurat, Romam reddidit. So here you have, again, some multiple verbs. You have usurat and reddiet. What is the tense of usurat going to be if it has an ERA? Usurat is going to be pluperfect because of that ERA. And the tense of reddiet is going to be perfect because of the double I. Here you also have a relative clause, a relative pronoun in qui. What would qui be modifying in this sentence or describing in this sentence? The antecedent of qui is going to be flaccus because they are both singular and masculine. In this case, they are also both nominative. That's not always necessarily going to be the case with your relative pronoun. But qui here is the subject of this clause, so they're both going to be nominative in that case. So Flaccus is the subject. Flaccus, who said goodbye to his son, said farewell, bade farewell, goodbye to his son, returned to Rome. Oh, and I made a mistake. Did you catch it? This is pluperfect, so it needs to be had. Flaccus, who had said goodbye to his son, returned to Rome. Romam is accusative, and it doesn't have a preposition. That's fine. So just returned to Rome. We can supply that preposition in English. Okay. This next sentence is from the chapter with your alter and uter and uterque vocabulary words. So alter ego inquit cupio in academia studere. Tres annos apenas manebo. Again, you have multiple verbs. You've got inquit, incupio, studere, and manebo. Ooh, lots of stuff to talk about. Here, inquit, as you've often seen, is just going to be perfect. Cupio has no tense marker, so it's just present. Studere ends with an ERE. I'm just going to make that infinitive. In manebo, the tense marker is a BO. It's one of your new verb tenses. This one's just going to be future, where that BO, BI is going to be future in the first and second conjugation. So the translation of this sentence would be alter. So one of them said, I want, present tense, to study. We're going to translate the infinitive as to do something. To study at the academy. I will remain in Athens for 3 years. And remember that your tres annos is going to be accusative of duration of time. Okay, next sentence. Scintilla epistulum a quinto scriptum laeta accepit. We looked at this sentence, I think last week. This is, I sort of mentioned it. This is kind of something called interlocked word order. So I just want to show you what is going with what. So accepit is your main verb. And then scintilla is going with laeta. And then, oh, a cat's gonna try and help me here. Okay. And then you have epistulum going with scriptum. And you have the a quinto, your ablative phrase, your prepositional phrase there in the middle. So it's kind of a nicely constructed sentence, and you'll see more of this when you get to poetry and to like authentic Latin that's not generated by British people writing a textbook. So in this sentence, which word is your participle? That's going to be scriptum. And if the participle looks like an adjective, remember that's going to be a perfect passive participle. And then what is the case number and gender of that participle? It ends with am, which is going to be first declension. So it is going to be accusative and singular and feminine because it's modifying epistulum, which is feminine. So to translate the sentence, we need the words that are the same color to go together. So happy scintilla received or accepted, because accepit is perfect, received the letter written by Quintus. So again, scriptum is going to be passive. It's not receiving, because the letter is not receiving, it's not performing the action, sorry. The letter is receiving the action of being written. It's being written by Quintus. Remember, if you have a by phrase, a or ab, or just a word in the ablative, that indicates that you probably have something that is passive, either a perfect, at this point, a perfect passive participle, because that's the only kind of passive that you know right now. So happy scintilla received the letter written by Quintus. If you wanted to be super literal, you could of course say having been written by Quintus. Again, written just kind of looks like an adjective that's modifying letter and functions in much the same way grammatically. And our last sentence. This was from chapter 26. So that quiz was structured a little bit differently. If you have questions about what you missed on that quiz, I can get back to you about that. So Quintus in gradibus templi stans magnum pompom conspexit in forum procedentem. Here, I picked this sentence because it's got two participles in it. So we have one main verb in conspexit, then we have some awesome participles. So you have stans as a participle. And then you also have procedentem as a participle. So stans is what case, number, and gender. Remember that your NS or NT participles are going to be present active participles. And NS is going to, on the end of it, equals nominative singular. NS kind of stands for nominative singular. You can think about it like that. So it's a nominative singular. What else would be nominative singular in the sentence? It's going to be Quintus. So therefore, stans is going to be masculine because it agrees with Quintus. Your second participle is going to be procedentem. It is also present active. Again, because of the NT before the ending. NT or NS indicates a present active participle. And if you look at the ending, it ends with EM. So that's going to indicate that it is accusative and singular. And then what is procedentem modifying? the other thing that's accusative and singular in the sentence that can have a participle is going to be pom-pom. And pom-pom is first declension, which makes, so what that means it should be feminine, but I'm just going to look it up and check because it's one of those collective nouns, so it perhaps might be masculine. So I'm just going to look it up to see exactly what the gender is, and it is feminine. Okay. So these things go together that are in the same color. So Quintus is the subject. So Quintus stands, standing, comes from sto, stare, steady. Standing on the steps of the temple. Ingratibus is ablative, templi is genitive. Standing on the steps of the temple, caught sight of. Conspexit is perfect because of the xit. The magnum pom-pom, the large crowd, the large procession. Procedentem, advancing or proceeding. Oops. Into the forum, and plus the accusative is going to be into. So your present active participles are going to be translated with ing at the end. Quintus, standing on the steps of the temple, caught sight of the large crowd proceeding into the forum. Okay, so those are some examples of sentences that are on your final and some questions that I will ask about those sentences. Again, all the questions are taken from your previous quizzes. If you cannot see those, please let me know. Also, again, if you cannot take the final on May 15th, let me know and we will work out something else for you. If you have any other questions, just let me know and I will see you soon. Thank you.